And we're live. So YouTube is gay AF and changed the way that they do live streams on mobile devices. Now they can only be done in portrait mode, which is why the video looks like this. I apologize, but I am not owned by Alphabet, which owns Google, which owns YouTube. So therefore, I have very little that I can do about this. Kathy Nick said, Bear is on this late, either something very good or something very bad. More like something one might ascribe to boredom. So here I am. We're gonna do what we usually do. Shalom J. John, shalom to all the blue wrenches in the chat. Lovely Dudley, my lovely wife, Homie Biscuits, Fluster Cluck Farms, everybody else. We'll just do, oh, look who it is. Triam Leon. Oh, wow. Hi. What's up, Triam Leon? Triam Leon? Sounds like a name of a dwarf in like some fantasy online MMORPG game. Triamillion, perhaps. Wow, there's a lot of people here. Okay. So, you guys know the drill. Ask your questions in all caps. Hey, yo, what's good, Dr. AVT?
I'm down for some boredom chat.
Exactly. Ask your questions in all caps. If I want to answer them, I will. If I don't want to answer them, I won't. If I don't see them, I won't. What's up, Data Expunged? John Rambo is here. They drew first blood. I'm not here to protect him from you. I'm here to protect you from him. OBX Prepper, what's up? Holy cow, the chat is blowing up. Yeah, there's 360 people on already. So we used to do a Thirsty Thursday every Thursday night, and I quit doing that in the general population for two reasons. One, aforementioned YouTube is gay. Two, a lot of people would say things like, Bear, what polymer frame striker fired 9mm pistol should I get for under $100? To which I would lose my ever-loving shit because I'd probably just got done rescuing somebody who'd been serially raped and I don't care. And so those, reoccurring top 50 FAQs were wearing me out. So we moved Thirsty Thursday over to Patreon, where people are a little bit more succinct and understanding in their question asking. But here we are on YouTube, and we're going to do something similar to that. Here we are. Ask your questions in all caps.
Somebody said, is Bear Nation going to be in the Stonemont series? I don't know what that is.
Oh, so Stonemont series is a prepper novel, series of prepper novels that's being written by a certain author, where a certain former Green Beret, come out of her, my people, lest you partake of her sins and receive of her plagues, neo-pioneering homestead living guerrilla warfare expert pastor who lives on the side of a mountain in an undisclosed location, and his tribe of ruffians is featured in said book. What's up, the Rickster? Tony John, what's up, bro? So I don't know if Bear Nation will be in there or not. How do I fight chafer grubs? I have no idea. I know the way that I fight chafing. Wash your ass, dry your ass, and then if you're going to walk for long distances, have the appropriate type of undies on and use something like cornstarch and or a medicated powder. And if you have outie parts, rub it on the outie parts. If you have any parts, I don't know, because contrary to popular belief, I've never been a woman, nor will I ever be one. And I don't know what you do, but my guess would be don't put the medicated powder in the any parts, knowing what I know about anatomy. Ever think about adding a happy news segment to the Bear Briefs? So Ray McDaniel, I do think about that, and I have looked on many an occasion for the good news out there to bring you all the good news, and most of it's just ludicrous fluff that nobody cares about. Mama cat rescues kittens from a sewer. I don't care. And then we used to do silver linings, where y'all would send in your good news to intel@bearindependent.com, and honestly, after the first 6 months of COVID, the number of emails that we got at intel@bearindependent.com diminished significantly. Y'all stopped emailing us. So I stopped including them because there was nothing to include. So if you have good news out there you would like to share, I would love to do an entire brief of just good news, or at least feature some good news with every brief, but I need y'all to send that in to intel@bearindependent.com. And of course, as always, if you can't spell Bear Independent, you have self-selected out of your ability to provide intelligence to the Bear Nation. Monkey Butt Powder saves the day. Amen, Marty. You know what's up.
Somebody asked any info for their first Shavuot.
Shavuot. Yeah.
How do I prep for my first Shavuot?
You read Leviticus 23 and you do what it says. You make a fire. You have a feast. You invite people over that you love. Bring an offering of first fruits, whatever you got, whether it's radishes from your garden or it's a grain offering with flour mixed with oil and salt, whatever you might have. You read Leviticus 23 and you do what it says. You avoid all the Judaic nonsense.
ABT's got all the fire questions.
Boo, boo, boo. Good news. All my seeds are in the ground. Awesome, Rhonda.
How do you find yourself spending free time?
What is free time?
We have some free time. We went on date night last night.
So, yes, we went on date night last night before the sun went down. We hung out with some dearly beloved friends of ours. I ate a ribeye, and I ate some gochujang Korean barbecue wings. They were very good. Had a 54% ABV cask strength single barrel whiskey. It was delicious. Came home, laid my tired ass in bed, observed Orev Shabbat. Woke up this morning, shot a Bible video for y'all who follow the Bible videos, which was Jeremiah 51-52, the last two books in the book of Jeremiah. We have some family in town, so we hung out with family today. We had a delicious dinner and hung out, and then once the sun went down, was looking at the stars under nods, and saw 50 Starlink satellites in a row under nods, which always gives me the creeps. And then rode the four-wheeler back from Grandma's house to our house, lights out, nods only, while providing a vehicle home for the tactical toddler, and then felt froggy and am now doing this. So to the extent that I have free time, you're looking at it, man. This is what we do.
When you drink, do you only have one whiskey? Don't be showing your ass, though.
To find one whiskey.
Right, one bottle of whiskey or one glass?
So here's the thing with drinking. In, what is it, Leviticus 10? I believe it's Leviticus 10. Nadab and Abihu, the two of the four sons of Aharon, Aaron the high priest, are smoked by Yahuwah your Elohim, the Lord your God, because they got drunk and brought the wrong incense into the temple. And immediately after that, there is a prescription against drunkenness in service to the Father. Drinking is okay, regardless of what the Baptists may say. In fact, Yeshua's first miracle was turning water, the waters of purification, by the way, the red heifer that all the Jews go on and on about, the waters of purification, into wine. He didn't turn it into grape juice. He didn't turn it into Gatorade. He turned it into wine. So drinking is okay. Drunkenness is not. We're commanded to be sober-minded, and we're not supposed to do anything that alters our mental state. And it is, you cannot biblically be drunk and in service to the Creator at the same time. So those two things are like oil and water. And so depending on who you are and what your tolerance is, I know some people that if they have a thimble, literally a thimble of alcohol, they're wasted. And I know other people that if they have half a bottle of whiskey, they're still sober. And I'm not encouraging either of those actions. I'm not recommending either of those actions. I'm simply saying that different people have different benchmarks for what it means for them to be in an altered state of mind. So, for me, sometimes when I drink, it is a whiskey. On other occasions, it's 2 or 3 whiskeys. But I don't get drunk. And if I feel like I'm even walking up to the line of what could be drunk, set it down, walk away. That's not holy, that's not biblical, that's not acceptable.
Somebody asked how the original Jackery is doing.
The original Jackery is doing great. The original Jackery solar panels are 1 for 2.
We had to replace one.
I had to order a replacement. Thank you, Johnny Coat Hanger. I hope you're doing righteous things with that coat hanger. It will cure monkey butt. My body cannot regulate temp, believe me. I appreciate that. Thank you. I don't believe anything Bear says anymore. Well, Linda, take your happy ass elsewhere then.
Somebody asked what they should get their non-prepper nephew for graduation.
A bear fac.
Yep. Some sort of IFAC.
I don't get drunk, I get awesome. Okay, heathen. Shaloha. What's up, John Plato? I've been patrolling the homestead this evening for fox. The foxes have been crushing my chickens the past couple of days. Nods and laser designators. You and the missus like rhubarb or strawberry rhubarb pie. I'm really a no for either of those things. Can you turn on a light? No, David. This is what you got. Best information, worst production quality. Don't ask stupid questions.
Do you and the... Oh, you already answered that one.
Yep. What else you got, sweetie?
What do you think of large churches like Shadow Mountain and David Jeremiah?
So I don't follow the church scene. I'm not familiar at all with either of those two churches. I don't fundamentally have anything against a large church or a small church as long as they are preaching the word of God, not some self-help motivational beta male speaker bullshit. If you're not reading from the Bible in context, I'm not interested in your church at all. I think certain large churches get it right in that they strongly encourage small groups throughout the week so that people can make meaningful connection with others within the assembly. I think that's very good. Other large churches don't do that, and all of the large churches I've ever stepped foot into seemed very motivated by how many people were in the room and how often could they pass the plate to take up a love offering and a construction fund offering and an offering for the pastor who's about to go on sabbatical and blah, 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 blah. And it seems like the larger the congregation gets, the more onus there is to take up an offering, and offerings are to be given freely with a willing heart. And so I don't like that aspect of large churches at all. But if you're in a large church and you read the Bible in context and you do what it says, great, mazel tov, bless you.
Everybody wants to know, why have your videos had such dark lighting as of late?
Because I'm not in charge of the sun.
Very true. Very true. Somebody asked if you have heard of, or what were your thoughts on the new channel Dirty Civilian?
So I've heard of it. I've not watched any of it, but it continuously pops up in my YouTube feed, and it seems like they're growing subscribers pretty regularly. But I'm not familiar with the channel. Suck Cuss. Do you think that Mormonism is inherently a Gnostic religion? You don't really want to know what I believe about Mormonism. Thou shalt not add nor take away from the word of this law. And that is not only in the Old Testament, it's also in the New Testament in Revelation chapter 22. In fact, I'll just go ahead and do one of those cool things that I do where I pull up the Bible and read it to you. Revelation 22, last book in the Bible, at the very end of the book. Oh, we might as well just start at verse 12. And see, I, Yeshua, am coming speedily, and my reward is with me to give to each according to his work. Not belief, not prayer, to his work. That sounds like a works-based theology. Well, you can take that up with Messiah, because that's what he said. I'm the Aleph and the Tav, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. Blessed are those doing his, Yahuwah's commands. Interesting. Nailed to the crosser. Blessed are those doing his commands, so that the authority shall be theirs unto the tree of life to enter through the gates into the city. And then we go on from there. Where is it? Verse 18, for I witness to everyone hearing the words of the prophecy of this book, if anyone adds to them, Elohim, God, shall add to him the plagues that are written in this book. And if anyone takes away from the words of the book of this prophecy, Elohim shall take away his part from the book of life and out of the set apart city, which are written in the book. That is 2 verses from the end of the Bible. You do not add to, nor do you take away from. And Joe Smith did a lot of that. And if you elevate, in my mind, if you elevate any scripture, any writing above the word of God, you're a false prophet and you're in a false belief system. What's up, Cassie?
What degree framing nailer do you find most useful?
15.
Instead of leaning towards a 21.
Y'all got late extenders, antennas for grindstone. If so, any luck? What's up, Kay Finkelstein? Keenan Finkelstein? We have a robust commo network for grindstone that I will not discuss on open channels for reasons. I love it when people contact me and they're like, hey, Bear, I know a lot about commo. I'd love to set up a commo system for you and your people. And I'm like, man, I really appreciate that, but you must think I was born yesterday if I'm going to let somebody I never met before set up my commo network so that you have a back door into it. That's not happening. Good job, Kevin. My Origin IFAC will be delivered Monday. Can't wait. You guys know there's free shipping at the store right now, right? And it's open. So, and how much of this shit can I say? Broad brushstrokes, it's heating up in Ukraine. DOD through the DLA, Defense Logistics Agency, is on. They're doing that thing again where they buy everything from light fighter tents to web gear to ammunition to rifles, and not just the new XM7/M5 and M2 or 250, but every IFACs and tourniquets and compressed gauze. And the cost of combat gauze since I've been doing this has gone from $37 to $63 and will likely reach $80 by the end of the year for a package of combat gauze. Like, this shit is getting insane. So I never want to be the ShamWow guy. I don't want to be like, get it while you can, but I'm telling you, get that shit while you can.
How do you tithe with no physical assembly?
Thank you, Modern Yael. That's awesome. This is intended for Shine's business endeavor. I believe she's going to make a difference. I appreciate that.
You.
I will personally hand her a $20 bill from you.
She's actually, or they are actually the ones that asked the how do you tithe with no physical assembly.
Awesome. Okay, well, I'll hit that next right after I say what's up to my bro Ian McPhee. What's up, Ian? Ian's been here forever, 5 years at least. Since the Texas days, so longer than 5 years, 6 years. Can you believe we've been doing this shit for a long time?
We have
over 5,000 videos.
Yep.
Insane. How do you tithe when you don't have an assembly? Very simply, what I do, I have an assembly, and I don't tithe to the assembly. What I do is I set aside 10% of my gross, not my net, my gross, because an offering should cost you something. And so, like, 10% of my money that comes in, not 10% of the money I have left over after I pay all my bills. You do you, boo, whatever you're into, okay? But I set aside 10% of my gross, and then I tithe to a couple of different places. Right now, I tithe regularly, monthly recurring, to a ministry that is in Southeast Asia that prosecutes and persecutes people who commit sex crimes in Southeast Asia and has thus far rehabilitated thousands of victims. They have a horrendous arrest record, and I love that. Wink, wink. They're really bad at arresting people. It's hard to arrest people who aren't breathing anymore.
Yeah.
Love it. How much money you need? How much can I send to you? And by the way, number one offender there, American expats in Southeast Asia, flying over there to do horrendous things to children. We ought to be ashamed of ourselves as a nation. So I tithe to them regularly, and if I have like a windfall that I wasn't expecting, like money comes in that I wasn't expecting, I'll take a portion of that and throw it towards them as well. And then I also support a brother right now who is in Ukraine teaching TCCC to Ukrainian military and civilians. And then I have my own personal oh shit fund. Bless you, R. Heath. Thank you very much. Thank you. I have my own personal oh shit fund. But I also hold some money back that if somebody I love falls into an oh shit situation and they don't have the funds to get out of it. $1,000 will solve a lot of problems. Not all problems, but it'll solve a lot of problems. And so I always keep a little bit of money in reserve, whether it's somebody in my immediate or my extended family or somebody in my immediate mutual assistance group, my camp, my tribe, whoever, somebody falls on hard times. And sometimes what a tithe might look like is, we know these people, we love these people, they just moved on to a piece of land and they've got nothing going and they need a driveway. And so on first day, on Sunday, we're going to get together and we're going to put in a driveway for them. And so tithe doesn't have to be a monetary value. In fact, biblically speaking, it was every 3 years you were to take what you would set aside for 3 years and throw a party for everybody. Like the Levite, the sojourner, the stranger within your gates, your entire clan of people, everybody, you'd throw a party and you would eat the fruit of your excess that you would set aside. And that concept of tithe has been taken today to mean throw 10% of your earnings into the plate to support the church. Now you were also supposed to support the Levite, but that was done, dare I say ritualistically. It was done per the instruction in the Torah with the offerings that you brought to the temple. Well, the temple is now in our hearts. There's not a physical temple. Read the book of Hebrews. And I think the church has a lot of friggin' audacity to claim that they're the Levites now, because the Levites, their primary job was to serve the temple. Their secondary job was to teach the Torah. I don't see the church doing that by and large. What's up, Jason Ogles? Thanks, man.
I got a couple of
Iridium
questions.
Group, shalom.
Three and one. Okay. Where do you want us to donate right now?
Wherever the Spirit tells you to.
And what's the difference between tithing and almsgiving?
Almsgiving, alms are for the poor.
And Caleb House update.
Caleb House update. Bought a piece of land. Bought it out in the county. Loved the piece of land. Fell in love with it. Bought the land. Assumed, never assume, because when you assume, you make an ass out of you and me. Assumed that because it was in the county, we would be able to build whatever we wanted, whenever we wanted to. Wrong. It has taken us over a year to get approval to put a water spigot in. And we have to build a lot more than a water spigot. So we are in the process of listing that land so that we can buy another piece of land that I've done all of the due diligence that I should have done on the first piece to determine that, yes, this one is 100% in the county and we can build whatever the hell we want, while also doing soil and water testing on the second piece of property now, and using the sale of the first piece of property to fund the purchase of the second piece of property. I have already bought the barn kit to go up on Caleb House. I've already lined out the contractors and the volunteers to build the barn kit, have the engineered architectural drawings back from the architect for the care houses as well as the administrative facility, and are currently doing takeoffs on that to get a list of materials put together, everything from every yard of concrete we're going to need, every fastener and screw and stick of lumber and piece of metal and every square foot of roofing and siding, etc., so we can get a hard cost put together. All of that on the construction side of Caleb House, while we currently have 24 people in our care, ages 1 to 19, that are in a network of safe sites that we staff 24/7, 365 around the clock, with a cost exceeding $30,000 per month just to maintain current operations with the 24 kiddos we already have. That's where we're at. What do you recommend to be the family med kit to be the best family med kit you have? Dude, it totally depends on how adventurous your family is and the size of your family, but I have found the adventure kit to be the go-to. I have the first ever adventure kit that was made on the top of my freezer in my house, and it's our go-to.
I would say adventure or crash with the FAC.
Yeah, a crash kit
just depending
with
on
the
what
bear
your budget
fac.
is.
But the adventure kit, man, solves like from like
Mm-hmm.
boo-boos to broken bones to bullet holes. The adventure kit has you. In fact, I've doctored sheep
Yeah.
with an adventure kit on many an occasion. In fact, I think we've used the adventure kit more on livestock than we have on people.
On people.
Not that we haven't used it on people, we have. But I would recommend the adventure kit because you got everything from band-aids and steri strips up to chest seals and tourniquets and wound packing and SAM splints and ACE bandages and splinter out and OTC meds. It's just, it covers all the freaking bases, man. Good night, Walker Customs. Good night. Y'all hear the yotes? Can y'all hear that?
Yeah.
We should totally live stream Nod's rifle yote killing.
Can you drop a link to that group that's bad at arresting pedophiles?
I cannot. You can contact me individually and just email us and I'll send you the link. It is an unlisted link that they are funded through that has absolutely zero identifiers on it because of the operational security required for what they do. And that's one of the things that frustrates me the most. What's up, Steven? That's one of the things that frustrates me the most with Caleb House is that I firmly believe y'all deserve updates. I firmly believe that I should be able to show fruit of what we're doing with the revenue that y'all have entrusted to us to accomplish our mission. And I can't. I will never show you these children. I will never show you the safe sites. I will never tell you about what has happened to these kids. I just can't do it. And I can't do it for two reasons. One is human dignity. I'm not going to take one of these kids who has had their life destroyed and parade them across the camera like some friggin' dog in a, Sarah McLachlan, Save the Puppies video. I won't do that. They're human beings and they deserve their privacy. And the other is operational security. I cannot. And it frustrates me because if I was you, I would want to know what the hell's going on too. And I can't. So all I can say to that is thank you. Thank you for believing that we're not full of shit and that we're actually doing this. And that gets back to don't ask me stupid questions, man. Because there's a lot of the time I've been up for 2 or 3 days doing things that y'all read about in action novels, and I'm effing burnt out. And I'm mentally and emotionally and spiritually drained. And I don't care what kind of friggin' pistol you buy. I don't care. And I realize that this channel was started talking about preparedness and homesteading and faith and gear reviews early on. Bless you, Arheath. But the Father convicted me that I got to do this now. I have to do this. And I have said on multiple occasions, and I'll say it again right now, it's entirely likely that a time will come where I have to choose between doing Caleb House 24/7, 365 and doing what I'm doing right now. And I'll choose Caleb House 100 times out of 100 times. And so, this opportunity that we have right now I don't know how long this will last. I can't forecast that. I can't prophesy that. Whether it's on my end where I simply don't have the bandwidth, whether it's time management or again, mentally, emotionally, spiritually just drained from having to do what we do with Caleb House. Or if YouTube decides, this bear guy, we've had enough. Here's your third channel strike. You're done forever. You'll know when it's time. Exactly, Marvin. And at least right now we get to spend some time together. So here we are. Bless you, Jonathan James. Don't ever carry the weight of us not knowing what's going on with those kids. We ain't there, and you and yours are. I appreciate you. The Adirondack Mountains. I know the Adirondack Mountains well. Move to Rumble, brother. I'm on Rumble. I'm there. The briefs are on Rumble. I put a brief up on YouTube, it gets 20,000 views. I put it on Rumble, it gets 200 views. And I bet you those 200 views are people that are on subscribe to this channel on YouTube that just watched it over on Rumble instead.
Right,
I'm on
you're
Rumble.
obviously here, Nelson151. Like,
yeah. What's up, KD? Bless you, Carolyn. Thank you. My pronouns are hell no and get the hell off my lawn.
That's funny.
So, I'm on Rumble. I don't believe that one builds an audience on Rumble. And if they do, if there are people who are doing it, they're doing something completely different than I am. So, I get a little tired of hearing the R word because it ain't working. I'll just say that.
Any word on a combo set of the turd and the shart?
Yes. We're gonna make the shart available on the store. The turd, of course, is the tactical utility retention device, aka shock cord. And the shart is a little piece of Velcro that attaches your shears, firmly attaches your shears to the molly on the outside of your bear fact. Bless you, Lee. Thank you. And the shart is, of course, the shears active retention tab. Shears active retention tab. Shart. You know, like, part of why we have acronyms is just to thumb our nose at the Department of Defense because they just love acronyms. And so it's like, why not have a bevy of ridiculous, stupid acronyms? Keep working towards that YouTube creator trophy. Hey, I appreciate that. I have applied for my silver play button 3 times. I've been denied 3 times and actually received an email the 3rd time saying that my channel does not qualify even though I have the views and the watch time and the subscriber number because the type of content that I produce is not in line with the ethos of YouTube. So I will never get a silver play button. And Chris Chapman is correct. F YouTube. That is correct.
Mommy, ever think about adding quail to the homestead? Grow super fast and easy.
We have.
We've tossed it around, but we've never done it. And I just keep growing chickens.
Bear, would American bison be allowed by Torah? I believe so. My understanding is yes. They split the hoof, they chew the cud, they're ruminants, they got a 4-chambered stomach. So much so that I buy bison when I can. I love bison, it's delicious AF. And we've actually looked into getting some bison, like breeding bison, but the calves are $5,000 a piece, or at least they were a couple years ago when I priced them. Hell, in Biden inflation, they're probably $18,000 a piece right now. So a fart is a first aid response team. Absolutely, Rick, that's correct. What are we reposting?
I think Tony John accidentally, schwacked.
You have better
Katie.
than a play button. You have Bear Nation. Amen. I agree with that. I love your wound care bucket. Thanks, Merce Micah. I agree. I love the wound care bucket too. I appreciate that. The idea behind the wound care bucket was I was thinking about like, well, what do preppers love? Like buckets. We put stuff in buckets, right? It's like a cornerstone of preparedness. It's like if you can't bucket it, right? Exactly. So I was like, well, what would be a good first aid kit in a bucket? And I actually had an incident where somebody I knew was dealing with wound care, and I was like, oh, dude, that's perfect. It's perfect. And we've had lots of people who, unfortunately, are idiots, say something to the effect of, I can buy all that stuff that's in the bucket cheaper and build my own. Go for it. I defy you to build a wound care bucket for less than what we charge for it. And our business model, just so y'all are in the know here, is the only way we can offer the prices that we offer on the stuff that we sell is because of volume. Because you're going to buy a box of gauze from Walmart or from CVS or from Bezos's fifth yacht, and I'm going to buy a pallet or 10 of it. That's it. Right? And so you get, it's called economy of scale. You get a price break. The more you buy, the lower the price per unit. That's how we do what we do. That's how we can sell that bucket and make a couple dollars on it, and you can't build it for what we sell it for. You like that, Jeremy? OMG, I love that. If you can't bucket, F it. Exactly.
Tony M said, been a while. Where's the cigar?
Oh, man. Tony M, I haven't had a cigar in 38, 40 days. The Friday before what y'all call Easter, what we call first fruits. That was the last time I had a cigar. The next time I will have a cigar is at Whiskey with Bear. I second the cost of medical goods statement is the only way to do it now. Precisely, the Iridium Group. How did you quit? Well, there's this guy, and he's the creator of the universe. Most people know him as God. I call him Yahuwah, Yod He Vav He, because that's his name. And I knew that first fruits was coming up. And for first fruits, you bring an offering made by fire, and an offering is something that should cost you something. And so how we, over the years, have chosen to observe first fruits is we bring the grain offering, we bring the wine offering, we build a big old fire, and we bring the grain offering, bread or dough, we bring the wine. And you know how the gangsters pour one out for their homie? Yeah, you pour out wine for Yah. And it smells so good. The fire smells so good. And what we have done over the years is use this opportunity on first fruits to bring an offering. We do bring an offering from our garden, whatever the first fruits of the land are that year. But also if there's something that has become an idol or a stumbling block to us. And it's usually a corporate affair. We're assembled as a group of believers. And the things that people bring and the confession and the witness that there is so powerful and so moving. It's so beautiful to watch people give over things that they're struggling with to Yah, back to the Father. And so I had made an idol out of cigars. And so I tossed a box of Tabaka specials into the fire, and I haven't had one since. And so I have decided that cigars will be for special occasions only, not an everyday, twice a day, 4 times a day event. So, and it's totally the Spirit, it's totally the Father, because I have only craved a cigar one time. And that one time was when my wife had just gotten back from women's retreat. And I wanted to celebrate. I missed my wife. She was gone for 5 days. And when she returned, I was like, let's just hang out on the porch. maybe I'll have a cigar. I was like, nah. No, even then, that felt too soon, and dare I say, like, too cheap of a reason. It's a very, very important reason to me, but it's like, you're looking for an excuse to celebrate. So, I have resolved myself that the next time I have a cigar will be July 16th in Dallas, Texas, at the Whiskey with Bear fundraiser for Caleb House. That's awesome, Godin Homestead.
I know, I just saw that.
After practicing and celebrating Yaz festivals, my church family has been asking to start making them church events too. That's awesome.
Okay, so to think.
Good job, JP.
Somebody got a question for me. Have
Yeah.
I seen the new freeze dryer on the market? Company or size? Because, yeah, Harvest Right came out with the extra large, which I'm really interested in, but I don't necessarily need 2 freeze dryers right now. And I have seen a couple other companies, but I don't know. I mean, I think Harvest Right was the first, and they are probably the ones that have the most experience with it, because they did, they were very open. They did have a lot of issues in the beginning, but for the most part, they have rectified those, and they sell a good product.
Yep. They also said they were going to send me an extra large, and they haven't yet. So feel free to email them and blow them up.
ABT said, "Don't need 2 freeze dryers. That's not the Ami I know."
Roger that, John Witherspoon.
My belly hurts a lot.
Oh, you got bubbles in your belly. Ask Nine if she can get you the dye guys, and you can rub it on your belly.
What's up, Brother Gas? 100-pound hail. Do you think Azazel has returned? No, Anthony, we need 0 more puppies.
I know, he was asking if we wanted to trade a sheep for a dog.
Do you think Azazel has returned? Bob, Azazel or Azazel, I can tell you for a fact, and I will not get into it here, but I can tell you for a fact that Azazel has been roaming the earth for at least 20 years. What constitutes making an idol out of something? Does it get in between you and the Father? Do you ascribe an unhealthy amount of praise and, dare I say, worship towards an object? Bless you, Chris. Does it seem like the right thing to do? 100-pound hail, that's right, ready to throw down. I've got some pretty sick riffs I've been working on guitar, and I may just go out there and say that I have also written the drum tracks to them, and I have some pretty badass musicians that are in line as well. Thoughts on ice houses for SHTF refrigeration? Ray McDaniel, I'd say that 100% depends on whether or not you live north of the Mason-Dixon line. Because ice houses around here require ice. Also,
right.
It gets hot AF here during the summer. Since we've been here, the temperature has swung between -19 and 109 in the shade. So what's that? 120, 130 degree temperature swing?
Yeah.
Are y'all in Arkansas? Nope. But, many of y'all are probably unaware that I grew up in upstate New York, and the Great Lakes and many of the rivers, there were many ice houses where ice would be cut out of the rivers and the lakes and it would be transported to an ice house where it was covered with sawdust, and all throughout the spring and the summer and the fall, they would chisel off chunks of ice from the ice house, and then you'd put the ice in the ice box before it was a refrigerator to keep food cool, or to cool you off. And so I think it all depends on where you live. What's your go-to hobby for letting loose? One word, 5 letters. Delta, Romeo, uniform, Mike, Sierra. Drums. I play drums. And when I say I play drums, I mean like
What?
most people are like,
F9 what?
who's your favorite drummer? Like
Guys.
John Bonham's pretty good, right? What about Neil
Oil.
Peart from Rush? And I'm like, yeah, that shit's elevator music to me. Like I play 360 beats per minute per limb, sustained for at least 45 minutes, sometimes 90 to 120 minutes. He likes Travis Barker. Travis Barker, while I'm sure he's a fine human being, his drums are pre-kindergarten level drumming compared to what I play. Play drums does not describe it. Precisely, Dr. Trev, exactly. Did Grandpa Charlie run a bar when he served? You know he did. The BAR, Browning Automatic Rifle. The original AR-10. Any thoughts on keeping bees? I have thought about keeping bees on multiple occasions, but I have 0 apiaries currently, so I know nothing about keeping bees. I have mental assent for beekeeping, but I have never actually done it kinesthetically. Lars was amazing. 10-minute solo on drums. Lars was amazing. Everything after Injustice for All, they might as well have just programmed the drums. Dyer's Eve on Injustice for All is one of those tracks where Lars like actually got some. But like most people talk about like One by Metallica. It's a really hard song to play. Not being facetious, I can and do play One by Metallica with 1 foot, not 2. Don't need a double bass drum or a double bass pedal for that. Vinny Paul from Pantera, Becoming by Pantera with the triplets on the kick drum is actually, that represents a bit of a challenge. Kind of similar to like Bleed by Meshuggah with the Huerta pattern on the double kicks. Vinny Paul's awesome. I heard in the same day, I heard Master of Puppets by Metallica and Cowboys from Hell by Pantera in the same afternoon. And my friend who brought those CDs over, I looked at him, I said, what is this? And he was like, this is heavy metal, bro. I was like, whatever this is, I am. And that was the day I just fell in love with metal. But I'm telling you, the drummers that I know to be phenomenal drummers are people that you've never even heard of. You've never even heard of them. Doctors imprisoning me, all that I see, absolute horror. I cannot live, I cannot die. Trapped in myself, body's my only cell. Landmine is taking my sight, taking my speech, taking my hearing,
I know that
taking my
was,
soul.
Johnny Got His
It's
Gun
left me
was
with
like
life
the
in hell.
best damn book ever.
Yeah, right? Way to break curses. Pray and stop doing the generational curse shit that you're doing. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I got my Origin Bear fact today. Awesome. Grafted Branch Homestead. What do you think of it, Grafted Branch? I'm so glad to hear that you got it. Now that you've got it, what do you think of it?
Did you answer Velo? Way to break curses?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Pray and stop doing the generational curse shit that you're doing.
Right. Be aware of what it is that
Yep.
is like plagued your family. And pivot.
So I agree, Megadeth is, I think, musically a better band than Metallica. Can you speak to the use of coarse language as a believer? Absolutely. So Yeshua, Jesus, talks quite a bit in coarse language throughout the Bible. He tells the Pharisees and the Sadducees that they are filthy menstrual rags. That is the biblical equivalent of calling somebody a douchebag. He also calls them swine, pigs, abominations. Awesome tactic, squirrel. He talks about John the Baptist and he says, "What do you think you were going to see? A soft spoken man? A man with soft hands? No, you saw a man of Elohim." Elijah, the prophet Elijah, cut the heads off of 450 false prophets of Baal with an axe at the Wadi Kidron. Do you think he was like, "Oh, tiddlywinks. Okay, Baal prophets. Okay, everybody get down on your knees. I'm just gonna lop your heads off"? Negative. Coarse language. When y'all talk about cursing, you shouldn't curse. Cursing is me calling down a curse upon you. It's not me making a noise with my mouth that you may not like. And I will say this. People that hyper focus on noises that come out of people's mouths but also masquerade as preppers are in for a freaking rude awakening when this world actually does end. Read the book of Revelation, and if you are one of those people that believes in the rapture, you're sorely mistaken, because that was put into the ethos of Americana in 1868 by John Darby after the Civil War, and is in no way biblical. There is no pre-tribulation rapture or mid-tribulation rapture. That shit doesn't happen. It's not in the Bible. You are going to go through some shit. So much so that if the Father didn't shorten the days, even the very elect would be deceived. And if you can't deal with noises that come out of somebody's mouth, what are you going to do when 100-pound hail is falling from the sky and there's earthquakes in diverse places and a third of mankind is wiped out and you can't drink the water and there is no food and a 200 million man army has caused you to flee your home and run to the wilderness with nothing but the clothes on your back because people will kill you thinking that they're doing a favor to God? You're like, "But he said shit." Uh-huh. He said shit while he was behind a rifle killing the people that are trying to kill you in end times. Do you want strong men of faith, or do you want pussies that claim that they believe? Get him, OBX Prepper. Get him. Wearing out the patience of the saints will have a new meaning. What's up, Canuck? Shalom, bro. Does the U.S. end with the return of Messiah or the invasion of BRICS? Maybe none of the above. A house divided against itself cannot stand. And by the way, that is an Abraham Lincoln quote, but Abraham Lincoln was quoting the Messiah when he said that. And this is one of the things that I think that most American preppers, the vast majority of American preppers in our America-centric worldview, miss. The demise of the United States does not equate to the end of the world biblically. It's integral to a biblical worldview in that if you read Revelation, the United States isn't in there. Comma, just because things go to hell in a handbasket in the United States of America doesn't mean it's tribulation. It just means, probably, you reap what you sow. And if you sow enough bullshit for a decade or 2 or 10, you're going to reap bullshit.
Drink some water.
That's right, Shannon, as we know it.
Go lay down.
What's up, Lance?
Chill out. You probably just got a big old bubble in your belly that needs to fart out.
What about the lamb with the horns? I have read every word of the New Testament on camera. Every word of the New Testament on camera. And now every word of the Old Testament from Genesis chapter 1 through Jeremiah 52 today. I will be starting Ezekiel next. So the Torah, and then Joshua, and 1st and 2nd Samuel, and 1st and 2nd Kings, and Isaiah, Yeshayahu, and Yirmiyahu, Jeremiah, and now we're into Yehezkel or Ezekiel. Plus everything from Matthew chapter 1 all the way to Revelation chapter 22, and if you're on Patreon, every single weekly Torah portion. I've read all of that on camera. So if you want my particular take on a certain chapter or verse in the New Testament, including Revelation, YouTube search bar is the second most powerful search engine in the world, owned by the first most powerful, Google. Go to the YouTube search bar and put in Revelation 8 or 17 or 22 or whatever. You will find my video. It's there. Charcoal and virgin hot toddy with turmeric is great for kiddos' stomach issues. Dig it. Just started reading the book of Matthew. Shit gets real quickly. Yeah, it does. Dude, so my favorite gospel is the book of John. But I like the book of Matthew as well. Mark and Luke, I will use as cross references, but I don't find myself going there immediately when it's gospel time. It's either Matthew or John. The world ended for Poles in World War II, etc., etc. The world ended for Christian Iraqis in 2010s. I agree. Right? Boop, 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 boop. What other questions we have?
Rick S., pay attention to the chat and contact Kosher Dad. There you go. He's there. He's there, Katie.
Rick S., contact Kosher Dad.
He did. He commented, how?
I don't know. Y'all figure that shit out.
Yeah. I think you can, like, message people on YouTube.
I don't know.
I don't know. Let's
If
see.
you were on Patreon, you could send Kosher Dad a Patreon message on Patreon.
Do you package your extra antibiotics for long-term storage?
Ish. Depends on the antibiotic. So you... I think I ate a bug.
Oh.
So you always have, or you should always have, a working inventory, right? Just like you have a prepper pantry that you're working through, keeping stocked at all times. Same thing with medicines, OTC meds, prescription meds, etc., etc. And so a lot of that stuff comes in airtight jars that you should just keep in a cool, dark place. Does it have a half-life? Yes, absolutely. So after 3 to 5 years, double the dosage. Was that bug kosher, Bear? I don't think so. It was a gnat. I don't think it was a locust. But I didn't eat it intentionally. Any advice if I'm a prepper in Hawaii? Any books you would recommend getting that would be useful when SHTF? So books are good references, but if you're in Hawaii, you probably have, or at least you have access to decent population density, meaning you can live in a place that's not overly populated, and lots of natural resources like building materials and foods, like fish and fruits and hell, you could make a loincloth out of a giant leaf and have it be non-ironic. Like a lot of us around here, like it's very difficult to make a loincloth, but you could actually do it, right? And so maybe what you should do is like get you a pack saw and a good bushcrafting knife and some cordage and go out into the jungle, literally, and learn some skills. Like learn some skills rather than just buy a bunch of gear or even buy books. Books are useful references, but skills weigh nothing and go with you everywhere. And so, like, there's certain books that I have. I have an entire section of my library that are all medical references. That if somebody's presenting with appendicitis right now, and it's SHTF, and we have to do something, we either deal with this or they go septic and they die. Do I want to do that? No, not even a little bit. That shit freaks me out. That is way above my pay grade. Do I have other people in my crew that are better suited to that? Yes, I do. But if I had to, I have the desk references on how to do that. Everything from written descriptions and the type of equipment and materials you need to perform that surgery, to dosages on antibiotics after the fact and contraindications and all that, to photo references in a book that this is what you should do if you have to do that. I am in no way recommending that you perform, back alley appendectomies on people, but I'm saying I have references for things like that. But somebody who has done it one time in real life is eminently more qualified than I am with a number 10 scalpel in a book. And so, much better to build the skill sets than it is to have the book as a reference. So, skills are better than LARPing. Yes, Saucin, they absolutely are. Skills are way better than LARPing. And the other thing about skills is if you actually have skills, you look way cooler when you're LARPing, right? And we all know from Flannel Daddy that looking cool is at least 80% of the equation. How do you decide what skills to master instead of being a jack of all trades? I think you should master skills in two different categories. One are the must-haves. You must be able to build shelter. You must be able to procure and produce food. You must be able to perform security. You must be able to make commo. You must be able to purify and store water. All of these, to a lesser but not much so extent, you must be able to gather and correlate intel. All of these are like basic prepper skills. But then, let's say, like for example, I have many a brother who are what I would call class A tinkerers. You can give them a pile of parts and they can turn, like Legos almost, turn them into useful devices, right? Or like tear your engine apart, put all the parts on a tarp, and put it back together again. Like that's a very useful skill. And they have those skills because they're passionate in that category. And so I think general skills, getting back to the militant farmer concept, which I say tongue in cheek, everyone should be able to work a shovel and a rifle. Whatever that means for you, but you should be able to produce food and affect security, right? These are general skills that everybody should be able to do. But if you really enjoy gardening, pour into that because that's super important, right? Oh, I'm just a builder. Cool. Build me a solar array. Build me a team room. Build me a bunkhouse. Build me a clinic. Build me rainwater collection. Build me fighting positions. Build me an observation post. But blah, blah, blah. Right? Like, it's all practical. It's all applicable. And there's a danger in trying to make SHTF survival and preparedness too militant. Because a lot of people, like, you miss the fact that people in the military have an MOS. They have a military occupational specialty. And while that can and sometimes does change throughout somebody's career, once, maybe twice, so they might have 2 or 3 MOSs, they have an area of expertise and they drill down on that area of expertise. And they are supported by A, the largest defense budget on the face of the earth in history, and B, the largest supply chain and logistics network in the history of man. And so trying to replicate the specificity of the military within your mutual assistance group probably not going to work because most people aren't shooters and not everybody needs to be shooters. And so like you should know how to shoot. You should know how to like, cover and move. You should know how to make commo, but you should also know how to like plant potatoes and cut firewood and deal with a wound that looks like it might fester. So what are you giggling about?
Oh, somebody asked if where was it? Will y'all ever do a prepper or homesteader or Sukkot convention for this area of the country ever? And I was like, that's a hard one. If we ever did, it would be through Patreon, not anything posted on YouTube. No offense, but there's some weirdos here. And then ABT called me out and he was like, Hami, sometimes there's weirdos here. Like, I'm trying to be nice.
Yeah. You get the occasional weirdo in Gen Pop for sure. We've talked about...
There's certainly people that know me well. Apparently.
We've talked about doing a prepper expo type thing, kind of like our Eastern Oklahoma version of the Self Reliance Festival. Um, that remains to be seen. It's on the list of good things that we should do when we have time. As far as doing an open Sukkot, that's not happening. It's not happening for a couple of reasons. The first reason is I don't know you. You might think you know me from videos, but I don't know you. And I have, again, this is not me being facetious or exaggerating. I have enough active death threats against me on any given day that I don't need people I don't know on my porch. Um, that's just a fact. And then the second reason is I can't fit all the people that I know and love in my backyard anymore. Praise Yah. And so doing like an open Sukkot, guys, we'd have to like lease part of the national forest, which could be interesting. But see, point one, I don't know you, and you might be awesome, and we might totally hit it off. But you might be one of those weirdos that I've had to remove from my property at gunpoint, which is I just can't risk that with the people that I love, of bringing people in that I've never met before to spend 8 days in the wilderness together worshiping. And I will also tell you that I've met, unfortunately, enough pieces of shit that claim that they keep the Torah that I'm no longer impressed by people's simple words that they keep the Torah. I need to see your actions and your fruit. Because some of the people that we've had to take children from claim to keep Torah. And how you claim to keep Torah and also rape children, I don't understand. But problem solvers abound for things like that. You're welcome at my house anytime, Bear. Thanks, Rosie. Hey, I left the property willingly after breaking shit. But you're also welcome back anytime, bro. So, you know. OPSEC for holiness is paramount. Combat G, man of Yah. See, and I appreciate your understanding that, Combat G. Oh no, don't put that on the stream. Can't stand to see the third strike. Ray, you know, listen. Should we nerf all the edges, Ray? Like, you know, why is Dr. Jordan Peterson so wildly popular? He's a smart man. He's well spoken. But the way he got popular was by simply stating, I'm not going to allow you to force me to say certain words. I won't do that. That's not freedom. The inverse of that is also true. How come I can't say certain words or perform certain actions on camera? That's not freedom either.
I said, guess that answers which striker fired Palmer framed 9mm pistol we should get.
Be good, Remnant. I've got to turn in. Good night, Chris. Need a sign that says you are no longer trespassing. You are now a target. I like that.
You gotta be careful with those signs, though, people. Like, because if you ever do actually shoot somebody,
It's premeditated.
It's premeditated, yep.
Yeah, but see, around here, though, we're so premeditated that I just call the sheriffs before I shoot people. And they're like, well, that's your right. Okay, well, if you need an ambulance, you let us know. Like, y'all know me. It ain't going to be an ambulance. Just send a wagon. Okay, Mr. Bear. So we've had a really interesting thing. Our county jail is not very robust. And we've had one dude has escaped from the county jail 3 times in 5 years. Same guy. Super close, Yotes. They're getting tore up.
the rats off too.
Mmm. Hold YouTube. That's the sound of a murder. Aight. Oh. Where's the murder dog? He and Murder Pup Jr. are actively, right this very moment, murdering coyotes in the field across from us. Coyotes are brutal and smart until they meet Anatolian Pyrenees mixes that kill them for fun. Yes, LGDs are working, Gene Ellis.
Yeah.
Are suppressors worth the paperwork in your opinion? So here's where I go with suppressors, right? I don't own any suppressors. So in my opinion, no, they're not worth the paperwork. Comma. Once you get a suppressor, once you have a single NFA item, you might as well have 100 of them. Because, like, once, it's like your virginity. Once you lose it, it's gone, right? And so, if you're going to go that route, go that route. Go, like, jump in with both feet. Good job, David Carter. That's awesome, Paul Smith. Ours does not chase the yotes, it kills the yotes.
Yeah, he hunts yotes.
Yeah, he is a murder dog. I have watched him kill yotes. What did you learn tonight on the Bear Chat? Virginity, that's right. For just a $200 fee, the ATF will break your Second Amendment virginity. Boop, 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 boop.
This is great. I got my kitchen cabinets and microwave.
Yeah, I saw that. Does a potato work as a suppressor? I have no idea. I eat potatoes. I don't screw them on the end of my rifles.
I'm pretty sure Demo Ranch has probably done a potato.
So here's the thing. I like suppressors. I just don't like the ATF having unannounced access to my property at any moment. I don't like that. Barrett, what's your favorite thermal monocular? Ray Rico, RH25.
Saws said, just stepped outside and turned in the phone. Virginity talk. Shalom, y'all.
Shalom, brother. Yes, it's Birds and Bees with Bear and Hami. When two rifles love each other very much, they bump gas tubes, and then ammo falls out of the ejection port.
That sounds like buttholes. Like you're not bumping
No.
buttholes.
I mean, I guess somebody out there is bumping, but no, that's not how that works. Yeah,
We're not.
when two AR-10s love each other very much, they come together, and then the ejection port pops open, and then ammunition falls out the side, and then a baby Glock 26 pops out 9 months later, and then goes and I don't know what to do with my hands anymore, Saw. I need brain bleach. What's up, Shannon? Brain bleach, that's awesome.
Hubby's a NAM vet. I think she meant veteran. And we listen to you long. They're doing
Eli, I know that the goal is to save life. However, someone broke into my vehicle last night and stole my IFAC. So now I'm kind of hoping that the IFAC fails and they have to use it. Well, Eli, let me give you a little bit of perspective. The first thing is email us and I'll replace it. I'm sorry that your IFAC got stolen. Just email sales@Refuge Medical and I will replace it. And do not protest. I got you, bro. The second is I'm no fan of lawlessness. I'm also 100% aware that I should have been dead multiple times over at this point, not just physically but spiritually. I have done so much shit against the creator of the universe that I should be burning in hell this very moment. And you never know that person who broke into your vehicle, you never know where they're going to be a month from now, a year from now, a decade from now. And maybe they have that IFAC because they're going to need it to save somebody's life. I don't condone stealing, but I will 100% replace that kit at no cost to you. But maybe there's something good that can come out of that. Because the Father, what's it, Romans 6, can use all things for good for those who love him. So, knowing what a busted up piece of shit that I was over the years, and knowing all the things that I did that were against him and against my fellow man, the fact that he still saw fit to redeem me, maybe, just maybe, there's a plan for that IFAC that was stolen from your vehicle. But I also firmly believe you should have a vehicle IFAC, and therefore I will send you one at no charge. You just email me and tell me where to send it.
I emailed or messaged the team and let them know.
Awesome. You're a good man, Bear. I'm a man. I'm good because of the Father. I have the capacity to be an absolute piece of shit. Like, I haven't forgotten how to be a piece of shit. I just actively choose not to be anymore. And there's days where that's very difficult to not be a piece of shit anymore.
Somebody asked, how were you able to get in touch with your purpose in life?
Ooh, that's a good question. Thank you, one fluffy grandma.
I don't know if we, truly know our purpose in life.
So I'll tell you this. How did I get in touch with my purpose in life? Gosh, in a nutshell, got baptized as an adult, freely gave my life over to the Father. Started reading his word and doing what it said. And then I just knew, conviction from the Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh, that there was something that I was supposed to be doing that I wasn't doing. And I cried out to the Father. And one of the things many of y'all don't know about me is that I am exquisitely good at being pissed off. And I was pissed. I was pissed at God that there was something that I was supposed to be doing and I didn't know what it was. And so I was screaming at him as if I had any right. I was screaming at him saying, hey, I'm an idiot, and if you don't tell me what to do, I can't do it. And if I'm not doing it, then I'm being disobedient. So I need you to tell me what I'm supposed to be doing, and then I will do it. And the first time that happened, very, very simply, clear as day, he said, read my word. And I said, I am reading your word. And he said, on camera, you idiot. I said, that's not what I signed up for. I don't want to do that. I'm nobody. I don't want to do that. To which, clear as a bell, I heard, did I stutter? No, sir, you did not stutter. Then read my word. Okay. Go watch the Genesis 1-1 video. The first 5 minutes of Genesis 1-1 is me apologizing for not being qualified or equipped at all to read this word on camera. And I'm still not. I'm still just a dude. But he told me to read his word on camera. So I did. And see, he who can be trusted with little can be trusted with much. So about a year after that, I was down by the gazebo, before the gazebo was even built, and I had that same feeling again. There's something I'm supposed to be doing for you, and I don't know what it is, and I need you to tell me because I'm stupid, and I'm not going to figure it out on my own. And if you don't tell me, I can't do it, which is going to make me disobedient. It was at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. 24 hours later, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I was supposed to be on the phone with a client, and they were unable to make the call. And so I just happened to be checking my email, which I don't do. Y'all, I get 10 to 15,000 emails a week. I don't check email. Other people, 4 other people on my team check email, and then they forward me the ones that I need to see. But I just happened to log in and check email, and the one at the top said, "Bear, we need your help." I clicked on it. It was from the Reverend Gilbert Abreu with Night Runners Mobile Crisis Response Team working in Florida after Hurricane Michael.
Amen.
And he said, "Bear, we need your help." And so I called him. And I knew instantly that this was the thing I was supposed to be doing. Spent 5 minutes on the phone with him, 2 minutes of talking logistics, a minute and a half of him praying for me, and a minute and a half of me praying for him. I said, "I'm coming. I don't know how or when, but I'm coming." I got on here and I talked to you all and I said, "Hey, we're going to Panama City, Florida to help with the victims of Hurricane Michael." And we raised $3,000, rented a minivan, filled it full of food. I drove 3,000 miles. And there was me and 32 other people of the Bear Nation there, 33 people. And in 3 days, we served 3,000 hot meals. And when I got home, we still miraculously had $3,000 in the bank account. To this day, I don't know how. It's loaves and fishes. And that was the first Grindstone deployment, before Grindstone even had a name. And then a couple years after that, we were working at Bethany House, juvenile human trafficking restoration facility. And on the 3rd day there, the father punched me in the face. Said, "You're going to build more of these." I was like, "What? I can't do that. I don't know how to do that. I don't know anything about this." They said, "You're going to build more of these." I said, I don't know how to do that." And he said, "Did I stutter?" "No, sir, you didn't stutter." So we filed for a 501c3 for Caleb House. And then not that long ago, I was back, this past fall, I was back in the hayfield watering the sheep. I was driving back on the 4-wheeler, and I'd just been praying to the Father on the 4-wheeler, just talking to him. And I got to this one part of the property. It's like a very long tunnel of trees. And I've stopped dead in my tracks. And the Father said to me, "Whatever you do, I will bless." I was just overcome with emotion. I said, but what about everybody else? You know, my team at Refuge, and my team at Grindstone, and my team at Caleb House. I said, what about everybody else? They said, that's between me and them. And then I said, why? Not why is it in between you and them? Why would you bless whatever I do? Not what I can go do scumbag shit now and he'll bless it. No, whatever I do in righteousness for him, he will bless. This was the implication. Whatever you do, I will bless. And the response was, because I love you. Y'all, I was broken. I spent 10 minutes on that four-wheeler, holding my hands up to the sky, crying like a baby, tears just running down my face. And after about 10 minutes, fired up the four-wheeler and came home, got onto the porch. I talked to my wife and I said, hey, it's going to be okay. She started crying. I said, I just talked to Yah. He said it's going to be okay. And she said, that's answered prayer. I said, yeah, I know I've been praying. And she's like, no, you don't get it. I was on the porch praying for you while that was happening. So forget your opinion of what your purpose in life is. You got two things that you need to execute on. Matthew 22:36. Love the Lord your God with everything you got. All of it. Everything you got. Your heart, your mind, your soul, your strength. Love him with everything you got. And the second is like unto it. Love your neighbor as yourself. You got to execute on those two things to the best of your broken ability every day. And then you need to ask the Father, why did you make me? Of the 8 billion people on the planet, of the hundreds of billions of people who have existed before this time, why did you make me? What do you need me to do? And then when he tells you, because he will, and that may take an hour or a day or a week or a month or a year or a decade, but when he tells you why he made you and what you're supposed to do, you've only got two options. One is to be obedient to what he tells you to do, even if it sounds batshit crazy, and it will. Even if it's uncomfortable, and it will be. Or you can be disobedient. And if you are obedient, he will bless you richly. You will experience life and life abundantly. If you are not, you will be cursed. And that curse will be all the good things that your Father who loves you, that he has in store for you, you will miss out on because you're not in line with his will. It's his will be done. Not your will be done. His will be done. So finding your purpose in life is not a cause or a motif or a mission statement that you decide to latch on to and make it yours and internalize it and point your life, the trajectory of your life, in that direction. It's not that. And every other internet entrepreneur or self-help motivational speaker will tell you that that's the key to success. You can't hit a target you can't see. And that's true. But your targets are bullshit compared to what the Father has in store for you. What did he make you to do? Why do you exist. He's got a lot of tools in his toolkit. And you're blessed, and I'm blessed to be one of them. And to the person earlier who was asking about, how do you square coarse language with being a man of Elohim, a man of God? I read this earlier today, and I'll share it with you all. Jeremiah 51, starting at verse 19. The portion of Jacob, of Israel, is not like them, the nations. For he, Yahweh, is the maker of all, and Israel is the tribe of his inheritance. Yahweh of hosts is his name. You are my battle axe. You are my battle axe, weapons of battle, and with you I shall break nations into pieces, and with you I shall destroy kingdoms, and with you I shall break in pieces the horse and its rider, and with you I shall break into pieces the chariot and its rider, and with you I shall break in pieces man and woman, and with you I shall break in pieces old and the young, and with you I shall break in pieces the young man and the maiden, and with you I shall break in pieces the shepherd and his flock, and with you I shall break into pieces the farmer and his yoke of oxen, and with you I shall break into pieces the governors and rulers. And I shall repay Babylon and all of the inhabitants of Chaldea for all the evil they have done in Zion before your eyes, declares Yahweh. Some people are battle axes. They're not loofahs. They're not washcloths. They're not teacups. They're battle axes. And if you're a teacup, that's what he made you to be. That's okay. You should be exactly what Yah made you to be. But don't begrudge the battle axe for being a battle axe, because Yah needs battle axes too. Jeremiah 51, starting in verse 19. No axe. Amen, brother. Amen. Oh. You're welcome, Sherry Hahn. Praise Yah. Do you think when Yeshua comes back with 144,000, the elite will have superpowers? I think that's a misunderstanding of what the 144,000 are. The 144,000 are sealed in the forehead in Revelation chapter 7. Yeshua returns in Revelation chapter 19. So, again, I would encourage you to read your word. And the 144,000 are out of the 12 tribes of Israel, but interestingly, the tribe of Levi is counted, which they're never counted in the word before, and the tribe of Dan is not, because Dan went whoring after idols. The 144,000, in my opinion, are the cadre out of the 12 tribes of Israel that are brought into service of the Father to serve the Father in the heavenly temple. Which, by the way, why do you need Levites to serve the Father and teach the Torah? And John, as he's seeing the 144,000 sealed in the forehead, sees a great multitude of believers that are too numerous to count. And those are they that have a testimony of Yeshua HaMashiach and keep the commands. Revelation 12:8, Revelation 14:2, over and over in Revelation. Revelation 22, the last book in the Bible. Behold, I come swiftly to reward each man according to his works. I am the Aleph and the Tav, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. Blessed are those doing his commands, so that they possess the authority unto the tree of life to enter through the gates into the city. 144,000 are not directly tied to the return of Yeshua. That happens 12 chapters before Yeshua returns. And when he does, most people are going to be looking for, excuse my language, a lawless pussy, a really nice guy. And that's not what you see in Revelation 19. You see a righteous king in the line of King David who makes war against the world with a sword coming out of his mouth. And everybody gets smoke checked. Everybody gets smoke checked. I am a Battle Axe, South Texas proud boy. We literally protect people at rallies and protests. I dig it. Just make sure, heathen, that you're doing that for Yah and not for you. Bob White, go watch the videos. Again, every word of the New Testament I've read on camera. Do you think we will still have our personalities or be more like drones in service to Yah? So one of the things that comes out in Scripture is that the angels are jealous of us. In 2 Kings 19, there's this awesome story of Jerusalem being under siege for 19 months by the the Assyrians. And King Hezekiah cries out to the Father and says, hey, you got to help us, man. We're starving to death. And one angel, goes out that night into the camp of the Assyrians and kills 185,000 men. God is love, unless you're the Assyrians coming against the Hebrews. 185,000 men are destroyed that night by an angel. And the angels are jealous of us because of the personal relationship that we can have with the Father. Because we're not drones. Think about your children. I want my children to love me, and I want my children to be obedient to me. Not because I tell them to, and if they don't, they'll get in trouble. But because I value the relationship with them, and I want them to learn to do, to yod, to vark what is right. And the fulfillment that I get from my children doing what is right is not when they act like mindless drones. It's when they surpass the simple mental assent to, yes, Dad said, therefore I will do, and they start to understand the value of the obedience to the Father and the blessings that that brings upon them. We're all fearfully and wonderfully created in the image of the Father. Every one of us with our idiosyncrasies and our little unique personalities. It's not an accident. He very much so made us the way that we are. Again, some people are teacups and some people are battle axes. And anywhere in between on that spectrum. He made us to be us. And that gets back to the key is, how do you use the you-ness of you to bring glory to the Father? Not to be a mindless drone. That's right, Native Strong. If only there was a video on Bear's channel about that relationship. Oh, Kosher Dad, I think there's 500 or so. I'm a battle coffee cup. What's up, Six String? Oh, what's up, Jano? Encouraging community. Bless you. Following the train of thought, how are you able to recognize a spiritual test when one is thrown at you? Anything that puts me in a negative mindset. So here's the thing, and it's funny you bring this up. I literally woke up this morning on Shabbat. The first conscious thought that I had this morning, laying in bed next to my wife, is we are spiritual beings having a physical experience. I'll repeat that. We are spiritual beings having a physical experience. We forget that. We lean on the physical, the tangible, what's solid in 3 dimensions. We forget our higher existence. We forget the Creator. We forget that our soul knows Him and He knows our soul. And we would do well to remember that. Because anything that comes at me that tries to create some type of separation in between He and me, or rob me of my joy, or knock me out of the straight and narrow, get me off of the path, that is a spiritual attack. Whether it's my flesh attacking my spirit, or it's somebody else or something else attacking me. Now, we also need to be careful not to ascribe spiritual attack to the simple moments when we are just simply effing up. Because I know a lot of people that love to say they're under spiritual attack when the fact of the matter is they're undisciplined. So you don't need to make mountains out of molehills. Square your shit away, there's a lot less spiritual attack. Comma, spiritual attack is very real. And usually, when you're stepping out in faith, when you're doing what the Father told you to do, when you're being obedient, the enemy takes note of that and then goes out of his way to throw every monkey wrench into the works that he can to demoralize you. And so I've learned to employ as much spiritual situational awareness as I can. And in those moments, to diagnose early and rebuke. You have all of that power and authority. You can tell demons to go to hell literally, and they will. And I've had things that have attacked me or my family over and over to the point where I have progressed past I banish you to I destroy you in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach.
I have pulled sisters to the ground.
Yeah.
And said, lady, we are praying.
Right now.
Right this very moment.
And so we have the power to banish. We also have the power to destroy. 2 of you will put 10,000 to flight. 2 of you. Do you realize the power that is within you? You don't. And part of why you see this systematic attack on the human being perpetuated by they, whoever they might be, with these piece of shit Babylonian rectangles of death and all the fake news and all the fake medicine and the fake food and the 87 genders and the systemic effort to keep you fat and lethargic and unproductive and unhealthy, is so that you'll forget who made you and who you work for and how much inherent power and authority that you possess. Because you don't just have the power to tell these things to go away. You have the power to destroy them.
You just gotta believe it.
Oh, you have to take it seriously.
Yeah.
And I find, again, I'm really good at being pissed. And I try not to be pissed, but there is such a thing as a righteous anger. And I will get spiritually pissed off and will literally throw knife hands at things. The second time we went to Florida on deployment with Grindstone, I was cutting, there was this one house that had like 36 pine trees. The average diameter of the pine tree was the width of the front door of your house. Some of them were bigger than that. And they were all laid over this house like pickup sticks. And somehow, by the grace of Yah, hadn't collapsed onto the house. Jay Johns was there, Don was there, I was there, had a couple other brothers there, and I'm trying to figure out how to cut these trees in such a way that we don't put any of them on the house. And this massive storm rolled in. And so I'm now like full-blown sugar cookied. I'm soaking wet, covered in sawdust. There's lightning everywhere. And I'm just pissed off. I'm like, well, we got to go home. I don't want to get struck by lightning. So we get back to the fob, which was a half-destroyed church that we had taken over, that we were working out of. No electricity, one bathroom, you know, living out of tents. And the only thing that FEMA ever gave me that was worth anything was this 20 by 40 shelter. Like, imagine like one of those pop-up canopies, but it's 20 foot wide, 40 foot long. We pull back up to the fob, and there are 7 men hanging on to this thing as the wind is gusting so hard that it is picking it up and blowing it away. And I was so pissed off in that moment. The one good thing I got left is being carried away by this storm. We're here to fix this place. Now another storm's hitting. I was just everything, just so pissed off. I remember Scott Brooks was one of the guys hanging on the end of this thing as it's about to blow away, trying to hold it down. And I got out of, it was Jay John's car. I got out of his car and I just started screaming at the sky, throwing knife hands, rebuking in the name of Yeshua. I swear to Yah, this thing was getting picked up and it was blowing away. And I start rebuking and it dropped to the ground. And everywhere around this one city block in Panama City, Florida, trees are blown all over the place. Tops of trees are snapping out. Huge storm is raging, except for that one block. And it was dead calm. And that shelter dropped back to the ground. And Scott Brooks let go of it. And he looked at me and I looked at him. And I was so overcome by the Spirit, I had to go around the corner of the building and just weep for like 5 minutes. Because that wasn't me, it was Yah. And when Yeshua talks about faith the size of a mustard seed could move a mountain, I don't know if you've ever screamed at a storm, a tropical storm, to rebuke it, to tell it to shut the F up and leave us alone. But I did. And it worked. And it didn't work because I'm cool. It worked because the Father's amazing. Yeshua calmed the seas, right? You will do all these things and more in my name. So remember that. Remember that you have that power and authority to do those things. Don't be afraid to exercise that power and authority. You can banish things. You can destroy things. It's well within your wheelhouse. What's up, Anthony? I agree. We are all literally sons and daughters of our Father in heaven. We lived with him before we came to this earth. We came here to get a body of flesh and bones to be tested and to be tried. Agreed. Is that the church you all read scripture on YouTube in?
I was trying to think, like,
Maybe.
I don't know.
I've read a lot of scripture on deployment, and we've been holed up in a lot of churches. So, maybe. We are the light.
Yeah.
Proverbs 6:23. Your command is a lamp, and your Torah is a light unto my feet. One of the things that I've talked about more and more live is that all the things you know me for, all the things, whether it's shooting videos on preparedness or faith or homesteading or reading the word or Caleb House or disaster deployments, whatever it is, all the things you know me for, they all came after Torah. They all came after the obedience to live his word. How did you come up with the name for Caleb House? Caleb, son of Yefuneh, and Yehoshua, son of Nun, were the two spies sent into the promised land, into Canaan, who gave a good report. And in the book of Joshua, after 5 years of fighting, when Caleb is 85 years old, Caleb says to his bro Joshua, I want Hebron. And Joshua says, paraphrasing, you can have Hebron, but you know the sons of the Anakim, the giants, live up there. There's 3 of them that live up there. And Caleb says, I am as good today as I was when Moses tapped us on the shoulder 45 years ago to go and spy out the land. And Joshua says, paraphrasing, if you can take it, you can have it. Caleb says, boys, grab your axes, we're going up the mountain. And Caleb, at 85 years old, goes up the mountain and slaughters not 1, not 2, but 3 giants in the promised land. And Hebron later on, the inheritance of Caleb, son of Yefuneh, would later be known as Zion, and then Jerusalem, Jerusalem. And it is the name where the Father chose to make his name dwell. It's where the temple was, where Yahuwah was indwelt amongst his people. So there's something very resonant with me, the concept of slaying giants in the promised land, breaking generational curses and forsaking not the widow and the orphan. And so I love the story of Caleb in the scripture. And I thought if there was a single person to be the namesake for what we do with these kids, it's Caleb. It's like, oh, you're old and you're tired and you've been fighting a war the last 5 years and there's giants up there in those hills and that's where you're going to stake your claim. Cool. Go kill the giants. And what you do when you slay those giants will have a lasting effect for generations, millennia after you. Why do you have a pentagram tats on each shoulder and played in black metal band? Because I was a piece of shit before I came home again to the Father. I have 3 pentagram tattoos. I have inverted crosses. I have a Baphomet on my forearm. I have a goat's head on my inner forearm. I have lots of tattoos that are not honorific of the Most High. I was a heathen. I'm not anymore. You can fight a war against the Father for a decade. You won't win. Ask me how I know. I have a 3-part testimony on YouTube. Just put Bear Independent testimony in the search bar on YouTube. You'll find it. Zowie Fender Blast. I lost my dad back in 2011 to pancreatic cancer. Did a hospice care for my aunt after she got clotted up from an injection. I just feel kind of wrecked these days, but have so much love for everyone. Thanks, Bear. Bless you, Zowie. I'm sorry for your losses, homie. That sucks. I know what it's like to lose your father. I know what it's like to tend to somebody who's dying. My grandma on my dad's side had colon cancer, and I used to pick her up. She was too weak to go to the doctor for her checkups, so I'd pick her up and put her in the pickup truck, and either me or my dad would drive her to the doctor's appointments. And she would say things like, "You picked me up like I was a tumbleweed." She was awesome. And then her last 6 weeks of life, she was in hospice. And I was on the road working, putting up wind turbines. And my cousin called me. She said, "You need to get home, Grandma's dying." I was like, "All right, I'll be there as soon as I can." She's like, "No, you need to get home now, Grandma's dying." It took me 2 days to get there. And everybody in the family, my dad's side of the family's huge. My dad was one of 11 kids. You got like 60 some cousins, right? Everybody in the family came and paid their respects, said their final words, and held Grandma's hand. I got there, I was the last one. My cousin said to me that we all know that you're her favorite. She's been hanging on for you. And I went into the room and I held my grandma's hand, and she was pretty far gone at this point. She thought I was my grandpa. She was holding my hand, thinking that I was her husband, my grandpa, asking that if I would take her for a ride in that new 54 pickup truck that he had just bought, because she just loved it so much. And I talked to her like I was her husband. And I told her how much I loved her, and that it was okay, and that she could go now, that it would be all right. And I held her hand as she took her last breaths. And it was actually really beautiful. And closed her eyes and gently put her hand back on the bed, and had to walk out of the room because it was heavy. So I know right where you're at, Zowie, and I understand the love. I get it. I get chastised by the people around me that just want to help people, and sometimes I help other people so much that it hurts me. And that might not convey on camera, but I really do love my people, and I really do just want what's best for my people, oftentimes to the detriment of myself. It's overwhelming, man. It's a lot, but it's the right thing to do. And again, getting back to sense of purpose for your life, one does not get to say no to the creator of the universe when he puts a conviction on you. Bless you, Brother Hans.
Guess what?
What?
Chad just got married.
Chad just got married? Praise Yah. Where's that?
It's way back in the chat.
Way
and
back in
you've
the...
been
Wow.
You've been talking Bible stuff, so I didn't want to
Congrats,
interrupt.
Chad. That's awesome.
But yeah, he just got married
That's
yesterday.
That's awesome. Praise Yah. You can say no, but you get swallowed by a whale, right? Lighter note, how did you know your wife was the one, Bear?
Aww.
I met my wife for the first time. We'd been talking we've been emailing back and forth for a couple weeks. Then we were talking on the phone for like 4 hours a day. Bless you, Chad. I'm so happy to hear that, man. Congratulations. You and Hans in direct competition for best hair in the Bear Nation. But my wife and I have been emailing back and forth for like 2 weeks. And we were talking on the phone for like 2 weeks for like 4 hours a day. Which, if you know me, is...
We met online on a dating site.
That's an indicator.
Yeah.
4 hours a day on the phone? Whoa, bro. So, after like 2 weeks, she said, hey, we're having a family barbecue. You should come over and hang out. I was like, hell yeah. And I was in southeastern Oklahoma, and she was in North Texas, about a 90-minute drive. And I said, should I pick anything up? And she said, yeah, bring a 12-pack of Shiner. I was like, this relationship is going places. Good indicator. I got there and I knocked on the door, and this sweet little blonde girl opened the door, and I said, hi, is your mommy home? And she said, yeah. And she turned around and just walked away. Left the door wide open. I'm like, we're in Texas. People get shot for entering other people's houses, but okay. And so I walked in the house. I set the Shiner on the kitchen countertop. They were all in the backyard. And I opened the backyard. And I stepped into the backyard. And literally time stopped. I know where everybody was standing. I know what everybody was wearing. There were 2 flagpoles there. I know the direction of the wind, where the sun was at, the height of the flags, everything. All of it was facing due west. Time stopped. And my wife at the time, this woman who I wasn't even dating yet, she had her back to me. She turned and faced me, and the father just punched me in the face. I was like, that's the one. You're home. We stayed up till midnight holding hands and talking. And her mom came out and she said, T, it's great to meet you, but it's time for you to go home. I said, okay. So we walked out front. I gave her a big fat smooch. And I hopped in the truck and I drove away. I was like, driving away is stupid. So I turned around, I drove back, hopped back out of the truck, kissed her again. Remember that? I drove
like,
home.
you gotta go.
I drove home. I was all butterflies. 9 days later, I said, hey, this is gonna sound crazy, but I'm in love with you. To which she replied, oh, thank God, I'm in love with you too. I said, cool. You want to do life together? She was like, yeah. And we've been basically inseparable since then. So when you know, you know. Especially with relationships, if it's not a hell yes, it's a no. 12 hours going strong.
No, because Chad said, I guess I need to go be making some lasagna tonight. Because someone asked if you needed papers for marriage, and I was like, no, it's sex. And then Chad was like, I need to go make lasagna. And then I posted 12 hours going strong.
Alec Hine, I like your logo. I recognize that flag from somewhere. I'll tell you what, it's midnight. I think we're going to call that an impromptu live stream.
That's a good live stream.
What a way to end it.
Yeah.
Hey, I appreciate y'all. Thanks for hanging out. I don't have any other words for y'all, other than I really do appreciate y'all. Thanks for being a part of what we do here. And
we appreciate y'all.
yeah, I'll see you Monday morning for the brief, and probably on Patreon tomorrow with a Yo Day video. So y'all have a wonderful evening or morning now if you're Central Time. Bless you all.